Okay. So this video is going to be a Arma 3 video again. As I've said before, I make these videos not only to inform, but also because these videos help me as well, talking it out and actually it helps me remember some of this stuff better. This video is going to be about loadouts, my understanding of them, as far as how much weight you should be carrying, what you should carry, where you should carry it, minimum standards, and things like that, so that you can maximize your weight to gear ratio. Also, this is with the understanding that this is based off of our current mod list for my community, and so this won't be useful for everybody, but this will kind of give you a minimum understanding and just how much gear you can actually carry and stay under the limit. And remember, always keep track of what you've used. That's actually one of the after-action things that your group should do in some scenarios, is see what you used, see what you didn't use, and maybe using that information decide to change loadouts later. And you should always keep some weight available for if your team leader or fire team leader wants you to carry something, you actually have the ability to do so, or at least have some things that you're willing to drop to change to that kind of thing. So let's go ahead and go over what a couple of things here in this screen, and then I'll actually go to the inventory to show what I'm actually carrying. So one thing I'm not using is the face wear. That's because the effects are not either prevalent or nothing that I've never actually personally run into. So I don't need the glasses or the goggles. And while they don't weigh a lot, about a half a pound, every little bit of weight does add up over time, and if I eliminate certain things, that allows me to save some weight here so that I can use that weight in other places. And that's something you always want to understand, is everything is a trade-off. We're trying to stay between 33 and 40 kilos, and if we can eliminate and shed some weight in some areas, we can save it and use it in others. So same with, this is basically an urban rifleman role. So he's not carrying any binos because he's not in a leadership position, or he's not supposed to be at a long-range support position. So he does not have any need for a designator or binos or anything of that nature, so we'll just go ahead and eliminate them altogether. Now you can carry gear in 3 different sections: your uniform, your vest, and your backpack. The uniform and the vest are going to be, other than some basic camo changes, it's not a whole lot of difference. Now the vest does have certain changes. If you go with a lighter vest, you'll lose a lot of ballistic protection, but you pretty much want to prioritize having that, especially if you're expecting ballistic contact. So the main thing where you're going to see a lot of change is going to be the backpack. There are multiple size backpacks, and every backpack has a load capacity as well as what it weighs, and so there are much bigger backpacks than what I'm carrying here. But one thing you got to realize is, once you've gotten into the 33 to 40 kilo area, and you've carried the bare minimum plus whatever extra that you want to carry, if your load size of your backpack still has a lot of extra space, you can actually comfortably downsize to a smaller backpack and actually get your overall weight down. Even though your carrying capacity is now full, your overall weight is now lowered. And that's the name of the game. We're trying to get keep our weight between a certain criteria so our stamina doesn't burn out, but we also want to carry what we need to be carrying. So let's go ahead and show what I carry on this roll, just to kind of give an idea of what I consider the bare minimum. So I keep all my med supplies on my uniform here, except for some fluids in the backpack. One thing to consider is that your medic is preset to use your supplies first. Unless he turns that off, he will always use your med supplies first. So even though you can't use certain of these injectors or items, it's better to go ahead and keep them on your person so he uses your supplies and not his own. Bare minimum, you want to keep at least 20 bandages. A mix between either packing and elastic or packing and quick clot is recommended. You also want to keep a few tourniquets on you. You have 4 limbs, so 4 is a good number. A splint or 2 is never a bad thing. The injectors could potentially go if and just let your medic carry them if you needed to maximize other weight, but they literally weigh nearly nothing, so it's better to go ahead and just carry them. Cable ties. Not every mission is going to require them, but go ahead and keep them as a standard loadout. They weigh so little that it just doesn't make sense not to carry them. Same with the map tool. I carry it even though I've probably never actually used it on an op. If I have, it's one of those have and not need items. So the one thing to see on my kits that I've done is all my required stuff are on my uniform and my vest. I consider if the things that I'm carrying on my uniform and my vest are mission critical for my role as far as what I need. Anything else is in my backpack is considered extra and not required. So I can actually quickly dump this bag here and actually carry everything that I need for my basic load on this soldier here. Now. At least as of last look at this, that's how it was set up. So I believe, let's see. Okay, yeah, my ACOG is also something I deemed my personal requirement. But otherwise, everything else is stuff that this is what I need on my person. Anything else is considered extra. So if you look at that, I'm around 24 kilos. So that means to stay within the 40 kilo limit, I have 16 extra kilos that I can carry minus the weight of the backpack of extra gear. That gear could be either team required or fire team lead required. Or it could be just extra gear that I'm carrying either for the medic or extra ammo for everybody, extra throwables, maybe some extra ammunition for the support weapon, maybe even some extra demo. Something that I'm carrying to get up to that 40 kilo limit if I need to. But I could comfortably run around with just this. And still be combat effective. So as you see on my vest here, I'm carrying a radio. Obviously, that's a requirement, whatever radio your team is using. The plug and strobe. It's to the point where, same with NVGs, the IR strobe is something where not every op is a night op, but they can run long, and you may end up needing it. And it's one of those better to have and not need items at this point. As far as the micro dagger, depending on whatever mod set you're using, it may be a tablet or something of that nature, but it's basically just your basic GPS to get a little bit more information out of. We'll go ahead and go over the optic here and why I'm carrying that. I prefer the plain Jane optics. I think they give me a better sight picture and target acquisition. And I can comfortably use those. If weight really became an issue, I could always drop and go to a dual optic. But as far as right now, that little amount of weight has not been something that has really been an issue. It's just everything can add up really quickly, and so it comes down to personal preference. If I really needed to switch to a mid-range optic, I have it, and then I can also change between that as well. So. As far as the vest, I also keep some throwables on here. This is so when I do drop my bag, I don't lose all my throwables. I prefer having at least one lethal, or 1 or 2 lethals, 1 or 2 concealment smokes, and then 4 chem lights or flares as type of markers. So 1 lethal, 1 concealment, and 1 marking device. And then in this case, this was an urban loadout, so having some stun grenades and maybe an incendiary to destroy equipment was an understood thing. As far as ammunition, if you're carrying more than 4 reloads for your sidearm, I think you're carrying too many, and you need to start thinking about your combat tactics. You shouldn't be having to transition to your sidearm that much. You should be working in more combat pauses and combat reloads so that you can keep your primary. It's the reason why it is your primary is it is more combat effective than your sidearm. So you need to be using it more often. So I keep on this particular roll, I keep 9 reloads. That's 1 in the gun and 8 extra. That's a pretty basic loadout. If you're using a lot more than that, you're either in a suppressive roll, or you're just firing way too many rounds, or you're fighting way more enemy than your unit should be tasked with. At which point, you better hope one of your other guys is carrying some extra ammo. That's the fusel kit is one of the optional things I put on this loadout. This could actually very easily go in the backpack. Weight-wise, it fit on the vest, and so it was one of those things. Hey, if I have to drop my backpack, I might as well keep this. But if it came down to it, I could actually drop that weight as well. So let's go ahead and pick this up actually, and then see what I have in the vest here. So I keep an extra emitter here. The one that's on the gun now is a visible light laser. This one is an IR laser, so for night ops. It also has a flashlight on there. If it was deemed that we needed to clear a building, stuff like that. I keep a bipod in here for supported long-range shooting. It's not my primary role, so it's not on the gun, and this is weight that I can shed by dropping the backpack or even just dropping the item altogether. Like I said, I keep my extra fluids in here. On this particular loadout, I decided to go with extra throwables and extra ammunition, just to go ahead and fill up my bag and meet the criteria for weight. This is all expendable. I can quickly drop these items, and if it was deemed that I needed to be carrying extra med supplies for the medic, or extra ammunition, or some other type of mission critical item, I have the weight in here to quickly drop and take those items instead. Like you saw, keep your primary stuff that you always need on your uniform and on your vest, and any kind of expendable stuff in your bag itself. That's my understanding of loadouts, and that's where we're at. So thank you for watching.